The concept of this film is that a demon army representing all the NHL teams has taken over Rogers Arena, and our Canucks gear up and battle them. The exciting part was basically trying to create a setting, a scene, a look that makes our players stand out. The idea of taking this warrior aspect of what we would normally encounter in an epic battle and just putting it on the ice.
When Mike and I first met and started talking through this, was whatever we do, the guys have to look cool. We're putting them in an environment where they excel because they're exceptional athletes and exceptional hockey players. And how can we make them look incredibly comfortable in an environment where they otherwise might not be, in front of a camera, doing something that isn't as natural for them as playing hockey. Mike and I spent hours in multiple meetings poring over different inspirational opening videos from all kinds of different sports. At the end of the day, we looked at this going, we're in the north. Canadians are tough, Canadians are strong, we deal with things that are, northern and snow and ice and such, and sort of went to Game of Thrones and the winter is coming vibe.
Having Steve Jackson as a cinematographer was just amazing.
I knew the director from working on a show called Once Upon a Time. It's the look that I sort of established on that over 5 years, and I probably stole it from Terminator, if we want to be true about it. It's a very deep blue style and a lot of mood and quite a bit of smoke. All those elements kind of came together for what Mike had in mind.
And camera, action!
The whole thing was pretty exciting. We shot it all at off speed and some weird frame rates. We used a rig called a Movie rig. We also had a camera dolly with a suspended arm on it as well to chase with a dolly. But it was the Movie rig that flew really well for us. Get in there with the skaters when they're crushing things and pucks are flying.
The biggest challenge was trying to get as much footage as we could done in a short period of time. We did this over a weekend and our aspirations were incredibly high.
20,000 fans, no problem, but yeah, you guys.
Our main group of this demon horde was 30 players, and we had an additional 20 that we were using in the background. So to get all these 50 people looking like demons with all the special effects prosthetic makeup, it basically took a small army to make this film.
So we'll have a sculpt of a zombie or a demon face. We then pour foam into that mold. We bake the mold and then get out prosthetic that we can apply to these guys. We prep their skin, we glue it down, that we've got longevity throughout the day on it, and keep them comfortable all day as well, because it's not the easiest wearing that stuff. They're used to having tight times and having to get makeups done, and thankfully it's demons, so it's not like a perfectly clean makeup. You can have a little bit of extra goo and blood and all the fun stuff.
Ferland's going to come up here with the puck. He's going to have two guys come at him, and he's going to bowling ball them over and continue up ice.
When they came to me with the storyboard of how this is going to play out, my job was to take any of the Canuck players that are going to be focused on and try to design a play that accentuates their special skill. Not only thinking of it from a hockey player and what looks good, but then also from what the camera wants to see and is going to see, then just kind of shift things around so we got a really good angle and kind of brings everything to life. I've got a really good stunt coordinator in Paul Wu, who I've worked with before. I know that when I've drawn up a hit, that he's going to be able to have his guys execute it.
Normally for stunts and some of these bigger sequences, I'd be familiar with all personnel, but we've got a lot of people who aren't familiar with film or just basically hockey players that have come in and volunteered their time to help. Understanding who's good at what and what their skill sets are has been a bit of a challenge. We're just trying to make sure that none of the Canucks get injured during our shoot, but I actually think that that's probably not really much of a concern. It's actually more the opposite. I kind of have to make sure they don't hurt any of my guys on some of these hits.
My favorite part of the day would probably be the hip check I threw. I got to see the action shot afterwards, and they do a heck of a job making me look pretty good.
It's a crazy amount of people on the ice, and it takes a lot of people for this to go right, but it was cool to be in the spotlight and be on that side of it.
Just to see what goes on with the people who are filming and coordinating everything, and you always watch the movies and you never really get to see what's going on behind the lens.
We're dealing with the busiest time in the Vancouver film industry in the busiest month of the year. So all these people came in on their weekend after putting in a full 65 to 80 hour week on a film set, and then came in and worked with us.
Everybody effectively in the city is a fan of the Canucks. So it was very, very easy to have crew jump on board to help us with this.
A video like this, within the room, it gets the guys fired up. You have some music to it and guys start vibing around to it and kind of bouncing. It feels like it kind of brings you together. You understand what's at stake going into that match, and this is a good way to get pumped up for it.
There's two things that I hope that this film will do. One is entertain people, and the second is hopefully pump up the crowd.
Our hope is that it inspires people to get into the game and helps reinforce how much these guys on the ice are warriors and are fighting for each other and the city.